Hi, hello there, this is Matt from The Digital Spy and I'm joined by Ben.
Hello Matt.
Hi Ben, and welcome to our spoiler cast for the second episode of Telltale's Game of Thrones. The episode title is The Lost Lords. This is the second in our many spoiler discussions for this series, so if you really enjoy what you have to say about this, then be sure to subscribe and you'll hear the ones in future. And obviously, if you haven't watched this episode or watched the first episode, then stop what you're doing, go back, play those, and then come back to us. So right, here we go. The biggest thing I think happened right at the start, or very close to the start, was that the reveal that Rodrik, one of the Forresters, is actually alive.
Yeah. So in the previous episode, he got stabbed in the leg and trampled by a horse, and I thought it was kind of a weak death. I thought it was really tame how he died.
I actually can't remember how he died. So yeah, I think that goes to.
We didn't see like a final blow. It was just he got squashed by a horse.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, he comes back, and I think his kind of storyline basically, again, it's him dealing with the White Hills and how they've kind of come into the Forrester area, and basically is kind of just making everyone generally quite upset. And I thought it was quite interesting because I think in the first episode, what I did in my choices as Ethan was I tried to be diplomatic and try and kind of, make them try and think, I could probably talk my way out of this, or at least kind of like appease them as best I can. But after kind of that shock reveal that he dies at the end, as Rodrik, I was very much like, no, screw you guys. At every turn, I was very anti-White Hill, wherever I could be. I
did a lot of the same thing. I mean, especially with one decision, you had the option to kiss Lord Whitehill's ring to secure so Ryan can come to the funeral. And even though Rodrik's mother was like, please just do it, and I was like, no, I'm not going to show weakness to the White Hills.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
They can just screw off.
And I think also like leading up to that point where you kind of like your sister's helping you to the hallway, and like there's the soldiers outside, and I was just very confrontational all the way through, which is very anti the way I play Telltale games. But I think that goes to show kind of where that game puts you at that point in the game. It's like, they've done this to your family, and you just want to get rid of them, and you don't care. If they're willing just to kill you outright, at the drop of a hat, then I don't know. I don't have much sympathy for them.
Yeah, if I was in that situation, I would have probably been like that, kind of very confrontational, really pissed off. That's how I was playing it, basically.
Yeah. Although there's one interesting thing where at the end, at the funeral of Ethan and the father, where one of the White Hills is actually kind of turns out to be a good person, or seems to be a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to tell what her motivations are, but she seems to have some sympathy with the Forresters.
Absolutely, yeah. And Gwyn Whitehill comes to the funeral and kind of like pays her respects, and you also find out she had like an emotional sort of ties to Asher at one point, so that's kind of like the only conflict with the White Hills. Otherwise, they just seem like plain bad guys, So I thought the Rodrik section was quite interesting, and I think, as with this episode as a whole, is building up to other things later on. There's less kind of like shocks and things that happened.
Yeah, you also had the chance to be betrothed to Elena Gilmore, which did you manage to do that?
No, I tried to be like a nice, suave individual and just be like, brushing off my horrific injuries, and I don't think it really worked, unfortunately.
I think what I did that probably secured a deal was I offered Ironwood to them.
Okay.
To her family.
Yeah.
I think it was half the Ironwood, which apparently is really valuable. And she thought, yeah, okay, I think my father will go for that, and so we're going to get married.
Cool, that's good. Yeah, I didn't get that. I basically tried to kind of, I don't know, go for the angle of like we had this previous relationship and let's work on that. But then
did you say you love her?
Yes, but then it obviously alludes that her father is obviously very concerned about the house's status, which is kind of understandable because obviously the whole Game of Thrones Westeros world is messed up, and they probably want to protect their families. And that also could leads on to like Mira could influence that to a certain degree. I think Mira, her sections, there's quite a lot of Mira in this episode, and she had the most interesting things. So one of the things was you could help influence that by forging a letter, because Marjorie didn't want to get involved, at least for me in my playthrough. Yeah. So I don't know if you did that or not.
I didn't forge the letter. I didn't even think about it really. I mean, because I felt bad for Marjorie the previous episode when she tried to help us. So I didn't want to take advantage of her.
The interesting thing was the Tyrion, I think, area section, where basically he gets you involved in a kind of conversation with the White Hills about selling Ironwood or dealing Ironwood with the city, and it's basically it's weird because it looked like there was a choice, but going back through the end choices of the game, it seems like that maybe this had to go this way in the sense that like he gives you the offer to sell the wood through your family, and then the White Hills have to bite through you as well. I think
that's what happened to me.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like obviously Mira, like this was not done with any kind of conversation with the family back at the Forrester household. And yeah, it could have interesting repercussions in future.
It seems like Tyrion just wants to stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And then Mira also, her section ends with her basically killing like an assassin.
I felt like that was a no-brainer decision, really. I mean, like, 'cause he was killing someone else.
I did.
Did you think about it?
I did, because I thought, well, if obviously her murdering someone is bad news, and if she got away from that situation, and obviously the cold boy would have died, and that was obviously not very good thing to happen at all, and you don't want that. But just thinking that, then that's gonna land her in hot water, like severe hot water, and then obviously so that happened. I think we both obviously killed him. Cold boy drags him away, and then you are running down the road, and you have the choice to dispose of the knife. And I kept it, and I don't, thinking about it, I don't know why.
I kept it because the knife had blood on it.
Yeah.
And if the cold boy's hiding the body, then, and if you took the knife away and someone finds the knife, then I felt like they're going to suspect you.
But his body's missing anyway, because he alludes to the fact that the body's just not going to be found no matter what. So the guard is going to be found missing anyway, right? Because they know he's not going to turn up for his shift or whatever. So for me, it's just kind of like, I don't know if that was the right decision, but we'll see. And then, so yeah, Mira and Rodrik are the kind of the two big things that happen. And then there's also Gared and Asher, which I think were kind of two smaller sections, and I think again we're leading up to things later in the series. So Gared basically goes to the wall, and he joins the Night Watch, and it's basically just like an introduction to a few characters. There's a few confrontations with your fellow brothers, and like there's a thing with stealing a knife, and you do some training, you do sword training, and you use a crossbow. You get introduced to Jon Snow. Not a lot really happens.
It was probably the weakest section of the episode, I thought.
Yeah, I found it enjoyable just because it's like, well, I recognise that from the show, and this is like a Night's Watch, and then the wall is a big part of kind of the mythology of the show, and
Jon Snow.
And Jon Snow, yeah, and Jon Snow is always great. So it was enjoyable, but there's not a lot really happened. So hopefully we'll see that kind of build and actually build something in the future. And then there's Asher's section where it kicks off with kind of an action-packed start to the game, where Asher and his friend Beshka are kind of like sell swords, and there's a deal that goes wrong, and there's a big fight scene where I died multiple times. I wasn't very quick enough. I think I died twice in that section, which is quite embarrassing. And again, like, you know, the uncle shows up, and they kind of have a conversation about kind of what they need to do to help the Foresters, and that's kind of it. And then, next predictions for episode 3 and onwards.
Well, it looks like Asher will probably meet Daenerys.
You think so?
Yeah, I think she was. She has been teased in a lot of the promotional stuff.
Yeah, there is like a cave section where there's like a dragon. You hear like a dragon at least, so that's what you think it is. So maybe Daenerys will come into it there. Lady Forrester says, it kind of very like ominously says like, oh, you know, the funeral should kill everyone who gets in our way to kind of, kind of get back at the White Hills.
And I feel like because Gwen Whitehill is probably the only reasonable Whitehill, I think Lady Forrester might be quite. I think there might be a decision at some point where you'd have to choose whether to go with Gwen Whitehill or not.
Possibly. I think either way, something's going to go down with the White Hills, because in the ending, kind of like teaser for episode 3, it's like, you know, the sun comes to actually, you know, be with, like, garrisoned with his troops within the Forrester camp. So it'd be interesting to see how that all breaks down. And also you get a hint that the Purple Wedding is coming up very, very soon. So I think in the first episode we weren't sure kind of what this game series covers in terms of the Game of Thrones timeline, but it looks like that's going to happen fairly soon.
I would be disappointed if we didn't see Joffrey now.
So that's it for this week. Ben, thank you very much for chatting. And if you enjoyed listening to this, then be sure to give us a subscribe, as we'll be doing it for episode 3 and beyond. Give us a like, tell us what you think in the comments, and thank you very much for watching.